Welcome back to Radio Taiwan International. You're listening to Geek Out. What's your cup of tea, tickles your fancy, or floats your boat? Join us as we share passions from people in Taiwan and around the world. I'm your host, Michelle Chang, and today in the studio we have my very good friend, Kat Trites, back again.
Indeed. Hello.
So what are we geeking out about today?
We're doing a mix of things. So we're starting with kayaking.
Yes.
And then maybe talking about some smashbooking.
That term is, I'm going to guess,
I'm not sure if I've heard anybody else use that term before.
Well, I know what it is from our mutual friend, Kim Gordon.
Yes.
But generally we hear about it in the form of
Scrapbooking is probably the closest.
Yes, right. But kayaking first, because, dude, any place I like to go with like warm weather, I'm big into kayaking.
100%.
Absolutely. But did you start kayaking where you're from in Canada?
I did, yeah. I started kayaking in Ontario.
Mm-hmm.
I live in the Rocky Lake region.
Yep.
So there's lots of lakes and rivers around.
Did you have your own kayak?
I do. I have my own kayak, yeah.
From a young age then? From you?
Yes.
Yeah.
When we started, I used what's called a sit-on-top paddleboard.
Mm-hmm.
Not paddleboard, kayak.
Yeah.
It's like a paddleboard.
Yeah.
Where you're not sitting inside the kayak. So if you tip, you just kind of fall off rather than
being enclosed in the
kayak when you go under, right? So now I have...
Actually, to that end, for listeners who don't know the difference between kayaks and canoes and stand-up paddleboards, right?
True, yeah.
Let's kind of describe. So a stand-up paddleboard, which is what we were just talking about, supboard, is basically like a big old surfboard. It is thicker, so it's more floaty, I think.
Yep.
But there is no like...
The balance is a little bit different than a surfboard.
Exactly.
You don't have to be riding a wave on a paddleboard.
You're doing this in pretty still water.
Yes.
And there is no like
hull.
Thank you. There's no like place where you sit in.
Yeah.
You stand on it as implied by the name.
Yeah, stand up paddleboard.
And it's harder than it looks.
It requires a lot of balance, core strength.
It's core strength because you're standing on something that is being moved around by water movement and every small movement that you yourself make.
Yes.
Especially when you're trying to paddle.
Yeah.
So when you're trying to paddle, then you have to compensate for that kind of movement.
You have to have a pretty good center of balance.
So what is a canoe?
Canoe floats above the water, usually designed for a couple of people to sit in.
It's a small boat.
Yeah.
It looks like a rowboat, except I'm going to say pointy at both ends.
Yes.
As a lady.
Sure, pointy at both ends.
But yeah, usually 2 people, maybe 3 can sit in a canoe and...
Often designed for longer journeys.
Mm-hmm. You can put more stuff in it.
Yeah.
Whereas a kayak is a really... I mean, there are 2 people kayaks, but I've mostly just gone kayaking alone.
Yes, it's mostly solo. You can tandem kayak in a larger kayak.
Yep.
But yeah, most of the time it's for a single person.
Right. And a lot of kayaks have that bit where it kind of encloses you into it.
Yes.
You're sitting in the kayak already.
Yeah.
But it's kind of got like a shell where you're like closed into the boat, which can be a little scary for some people if they should flip.
Yes. The benefit of that is that you are lower in the water, so you have a lower center of gravity, which makes it a lot easier to balance.
Yes.
When you're kayaking in a place that's not rapids, then the low center of balance helps you balance better.
And maneuver.
Yeah. So when you sit on top of I'm going to say paddleboard consistently.
No problem.
If you're on a sit on top kayak, it's a little bit trickier to balance. But if you do fall off, there's nothing to hinder you. You're just going to fall straight off.
And there's not that moment of panic that you're actually stuck to the boat. Right.
Yeah.
Although, thankfully, the only time I ever capsized in a kayak, it was one of those, not a sit on top, but an open kayak. So I was immediately just in the ocean.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, I can imagine kayaking in Canada in you said Rocky Lake? Rocky Lake region was gorgeous.
Oh, yeah.
Because it's all like snow melt, right?
A lot of it is snow melt if you're up far enough north. If you go towards Georgian Bay, which means nothing to you.
Nope.
Georgian Bay has blue, clear water.
Oh.
So it looks like you're in the tropics when you're there, and it's really pretty.
Yeah, the scenery would just be breathtaking.
Yeah, absolutely.
Man. So that was your first taste of kayaking.
Yes.
When did you start traveling?
My family has traveled a lot over the years.
That's great, though.
So I grew up moving around a lot. So we traveled a lot when I was a child. A lot in Europe. And recently, of course, in Asia. So I've lived here on and off for the last 10-ish years.
Yep. Texas?
Texas,
also, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
I know that about you.
Yep.
So kayaking everywhere.
Yes.
Excellent.
Yes.
Where was your most favorite and least favorite locations?
Okay.
Well, let's start with the nice one. Most favorite location.
My favorite location is probably still in Ontario. It's probably still Tobermory on the Georgian Bay, the blue water. It's not too hot. You can go out and enjoy it.
That's
but you
actually
still
really
get that
true.
really beautiful water.
Yeah.
So
Kayaking is can be a very physically intensive
yes.
sport, kind of.
Yeah.
I'm going to say water. Is this water sport?
It's a water sport, sure.
So I have been many times kayaking in the tropics.
Yes.
Sometimes that is absolutely miserable.
It's beautiful. But when you get to the end of it, you're like, man, I just need to swim now. Like,
Yeah,
I need
you
to
need
get
to jump in.
Yeah.
Because
which is also nice, in fairness.
It is.
But it feels a lot more of a workout in the heat than it does in the cooler temperature.
That's true. I haven't thought about it that way. It must be like it's exercise, but you're not super hot from doing it. Yeah.
So it's nice.
I've only been I lived in Boston a bit, so cold, but definitely not as picturesque as those like screensavers of like Canada.
Yeah, you can kayak in like English Bay in Vancouver, which is also really pretty.
But why? Besides the view, was there any like what kind of conditions were you in?
You do have to have a different kind of kayak.
Okay.
In Ontario, when I kayak, I have more of a recreational or a touring kayak.
Yep.
Which is at most 14 feet long. It's a little bit easier to maneuver in smaller spaces. So if I wanted to take it on a river, you can do that.
Yep.
If you're kayaking on the ocean, you need a sea kayak.
Yep.
And those ones are 15 foot plus.
Yes.
So those are much longer. It helps battle the waves.
It does.
So you need a different kayak for that, for sure.
The place that I capsized was actually in Hawaii.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, trying to get past I guess the break zone to get back to shore. And that was fun because like a big old wave came over and I'm like, I was so close to hitting coral.
Oh.
Yeah, I saw it. I actually saw it when I was underwater. It's like just a few feet from my face when I capsized. Yeah, it was a little bit scary, but definitely you need a different kind of you need different kind of equipment for sea conditions.
For sure. Yes.
Absolutely. How about least favorite kayak site?
Least favorite is probably in Texas.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay.
The Gulf of Mexico is brown.
Oh, no.
The water is not pretty to look at. You don't have any nice sights to see.
Surprisingly, a lot of divers are trained in the area, though.
Yeah, I trained scuba diving in
Mm-hmm.
Texas as well, but I trained in a lake.
That's true. A lot of people train in quarries or lakes.
Yeah. It was mine was an old quarry that I trained in Texas. The Gulf of Mexico is not pretty. And unfortunately, a lot of Texas's coastline is like factory type.
Oh, no.
So there's not a lot of sights to see on the coast either.
I get that. Okay.
So Texas is probably my least favorite.
But at least you went.
Yeah, exactly. We've done it.
Have
Check that box.
Nice. Any particular location in Asia that I might have also been to?
I did some in Bali.
Oh,
Indonesia. I also scuba dived there, which I loved.
Southeast, the coral, they call it the Coral Triangle.
Yeah.
Rather than the Golden Triangle, which is a wholly different topic entirely. But the Coral Triangle is magnificent. Listeners, if you're not from here, you should at one point in your life travel into the area and do some water sports. Kayaking 100%. From above, yeah. They have see-through ones now.
Yes, you can get glass-bottomed kayaks now, which is amazing.
Those are that's what I've spent the extra money. Had to.
You had to.
You have to spend the extra money to get the glass kayak in order to see down into the water. Holy crap! So much life and fish, right?
Yes, because you have to be pretty confident if you're going to lean over the side to look. Otherwise, you're going in.
Over.
Yeah. So the glass bottom definitely is worth it.
Speaking of travel, I can imagine that a lot of airplane ticket stubs, these kinds of receipts go into your Smashbook.
Absolutely, I save everything.
Yay! Our mutual friend Kim always collected, she would always be the one taking my, the movie ticket stubs or whatever we were doing together because she was going to put them in a Smashbook. And that's when I learned the closest thing to familiar thing would be a scrapbook.
Yeah.
Right.
Basically what I do is, interestingly, I got Kim started. So this came from me.
Oh, nice.
But I buy a journal, basically, and I collect ticket stubs, and I collect pamphlets and maps and stickers and fun things. And I treat it as a journal, but I add all of my collectibles, my paper collectibles to it.
It's better than either a scrapbook or a journal then.
Yeah, it's a combination of the two.
Because,
so I take everything and I smash it together, and that's why
that's
I call
great.
it a Smashbook.
That's fantastic. Props, because writing in a journal, yes, you're writing and you can use words to describe all the places and the memories that you gained doing whatever activity, but then also adding the scrapbook feature of the little trinkets or stubs or things, papers, is an added, like a dimension, right? Added memory.
Exactly.
That's very cool.
I have, in Taiwan, I found these little Post-it notes that are Taiwan shaped.
Oh, like
because of course,
island, like Taiwan,
like
the island,
the
okay,
island
okay,
of
okay.
Taiwan shape. Yeah. And so every time I travel somewhere new in Taiwan, I use one of those,
Aww.
and I mark where on the island I was.
That's super cute.
And
So it's like
it's like
map.
a little mini map inside my Smashbook.
It's adorable.
So, yeah.
What, did you start Smashbooking young or just a recent
My
thing?
mother used to do something similar.
Okay.
So when we lived in Germany, my mom recorded everything that we did. All of our travels went into a little journal.
Nice.
And she didn't keep as many things as I do. She's not quite the hoarder that I am. But she did keep things like pamphlets from museums and stuff like that kind of slipped inside.
Oh, so at a later date, she or any of you actually could flip through said journal and kind of like re-experience.
Exactly. They're all of her journals are in a bookshelf in our living room at home. And so if I ever want to go back and think, what did we do in Prague? Then I can find it and flip through and
relive it.
Yeah.
Oh, this kind of thing is really important because in my youth, I was buying a lot of things. Yeah. And only recently, in my later adult years, have I realized that buying experiences is more important.
Yes, it's very true.
Yeah. I guess the smashbooking would be a fantastic way to preserve the memories
for
the days when you want to open up the book and kind of.
You still have that material thing that we kind of crave.
Yeah.
But you haven't spent any money on it. It's just a notebook.
Right. It's just the cost of a notebook.
Exactly.
Aw. So how many Smashbooks have you done?
I have one from the first time I lived in Taiwan, but it's like a solid
fat
6 to 7 inches wide. It's huge.
It's a tome.
Yeah, it's a tome. I had to actually take apart the journals and rebind it, so I bound it myself.
That process in itself is really cool.
Yes,
like
it is.
Binding books. Yeah,
it very much is.
Yeah,
and so I actually had to figure out how to put that one together into its own tome. I have a couple from when I was living in Canada, and I have one from my trip to Indonesia itself. So I think I probably have around 5 or 6 of them.
Nice. Well, I mean, it takes a lot of it's a lot of pages in a journal, so
yes.
Yeah. Are there any particular trips or I guess chapters to a Smashbook that you are particularly fond of looking at?
Probably, yeah. I have within my Taiwan one from my original time here. All of the trips that I took while living in Taiwan are also in there. So I have a trip that I took to Korea in there that I really like.
Oh, yeah.
That was really cool.
For listeners who aren't actually aware, Taiwan is fantastically located in the way that you can easily hop to many other locations in East Asia or Southeast Asia.
Yeah. Really short flights.
Very short flights. And generally affordable.
And affordable, for sure. Yeah.
So you went to South Korea and...
Yep. So we did... This is a very strange trip that I did, but...
I love hearing about strange trips, please.
A friend and I, and Amanda, actually...
Oh, nice.
Went on a 3-day trip to Japan.
Okay.
We did 3 theme parks in 3 days.
Oh, no.
And it was exhausting. And it was a little bit miserable. And we happened to be in Japan while a typhoon was also in Japan.
No.
And it was insane. It was the most insane trip of my life. And anything that could go wrong did, in fact, go wrong. So
that's terrible. I'm so sorry.
It's kind of fun to look back on.
Yeah.
Because it's just a comedy of errors.
The Murphy's Law of vacations.
Exactly.
Okay.
100%. Like night bus that nobody could sleep on because of a whole host of different reasons.
Okay.
And then we got off the bus and immediately went into another theme park. And like,
did you had the energy to keep going?
Oh my God. By the end of the trip, I was like, I need another vacation. I'm so tired.
Yes. I mean, theme parks in general are definitely like, they're things that I, as an older person, have to like plan days around.
Yes.
Never mind one theme park per day.
Oh, yeah.
Right? It's like you go to a theme park and then you have a day of rest.
Yes.
And then you go to another theme park and then you
Yeah.
have another day
Yep.
of rest where you got to just sit around on your butt.
Yeah. But it was fun. It was crazy.
These adventures are, I call them adventures.
Yes,
Because
100%.
yeah.
Yeah.
It's overcoming obstacles and challenges that is kind
Yeah.
of an adventure, the definition of an adventure.
Exactly.
Right?
But then I look in my Smashbook and I kind of reread and I'm like, oh yeah, that went wrong too. And it's really kind of fun to look back on. So
A divine comedy.
yeah, exactly.
Man, I got to ask Amanda about that.
Oh, please do, because she has a lot of opinions.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Oh, yeah.
When was this exactly?
This was probably 2016,
Okay.
2015 or 2016.
Okay, well before COVID.
Well, before COVID,
Okay,
yeah.
cool.
And it was, I mean, Amanda ended up coming in, her flight arrived later than mine did.
Ooh.
And I think she arrived and got maybe 3 hours of sleep before we went to the first theme park. So she was just miserable for the whole 3 days. The poor thing.
Yes, I guess that's a piece of advice that we can give people who are traveling. Please don't do that to yourself.
Don't do it. I mean, if you are young and you have energy and
Still don't do it.
I mean, I'm not going to stop you because it has a lot of memories, but maybe don't. Maybe plan it a little differently.
Yeah, theme parks, man. Oh, I actually have yet to visit Japanese theme parks.
Really? Mm-hmm. I think I've been to all of them now. So
Oh. Just bragging now. Any particular advice to anyone who wants to, for example, start kayaking?
I would say don't worry too much about things in the beginning. If you don't have the right kayak, it's going to be okay.
Mm-hmm.
If you fall off the kayak, you're going to be fine.
Generally, they request that you know how to swim before you start the
please
sport.
do know
right.
how to swim. That's fair. Please know how to swim before you get on a kayak.
Yeah, and instructors will set you up with a life vest thing.
Yeah.
If you're learning on it.
Exactly.
You know, so.
If you're a beginner, you're usually going to be going with somebody who's done it before, and they'll take care of all of the essentials.
Yeah.
So
I found it pretty instinctive. It's like when you're given a paddle and you're kind of allowed to mess around in the water a little bit, you figure it out. Yeah, exactly. Oh, man. But it's so much fun.
it is.
I hate exercise. I hate it.
But I'll kayak.
Exactly.
I'm the same way. Put me in a boat and I'm good.
Yes, if you present me exercise in another form that is fun, like getting out there and like looking at cool stuff or in nature and
There
it's
you go.
beautiful.
I'll do those.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
I'll go on a hike if I can see a view at the end.
Well, you're going to have to convince me on that one because bugs.
Okay, I understand.
Any particular tips and tricks that you could give smashbookers now that the term is out there?
Yeah. I don't know. I collect everything.
Okay.
So I guess just
Like
start a
chopstick
collection.
wrappers and napkins.
Chopstick wrappers, napkins. Literally today I picked up a business card and a coffee sleeve.
Things that you wouldn't think to collect.
Yeah, things that are just, I mean, they're little paper accessories that I find, and I'm like, oh, I've never been to this coffee shop before. I really enjoyed it. I'm going to steal one of their little coffee sleeves.
Yay. Those all become elements to the book.
And then, and then I use, because I always get behind when I'm writing.
Generally, we always do.
Yeah, I'm never writing a journal entry for the same day that it is. And so I go back through my photo gallery on my phone.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm like, what did I do? What's something interesting that I've done recently? What do I want to write about? And then I'll find pictures. I'm like, oh, yeah, I did this. This was really fun. I'll write about that.
Oh, and then you keep all of your knickknacks and things that you've collected in like one place, or are they like organized in any way?
So I have a little a basket that I have in my house, and all of my new paper accessories and knickknacks and things go in there, and they are organized by how recent it was. So the most recent will be at the back.
Right.
So the things that I have done that I need to write about first
are
closest to the front.
That makes so much sense. And yes, you do kind of need to catalog things in chronological order. Otherwise, it's just a jumble.
Like, why do I have this?
Where is it from? I don't remember anymore.
Exactly. That's the other thing, is that I do often write on the back of things.
Oh, yes.
I'm like, especially in Taiwan, where I don't necessarily read the Chinese.
That's true.
On
a lot of
them.
it doesn't have English on it. So
yeah. So I'll pick things up, and if I'm like, I'm probably not going to remember where this is from, I'll kind of jot myself a note.
That's
on
a
the
good
back.
tip for traveling, because frequently you're in a foreign country where you can't read the language. So it's good to take notes.
Take a note and write the date on the back of it. Easy.
Yay. Thank you so much for geeking out with me today.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
And thanks, listeners, for tuning into Radio Taiwan International. I'm Michelle Cheng, and I'll be back next Thursday with another episode of Geek Out.